Hey everyone, it's Daphne from Scrap and Create, and we're working on Fairy Wings. And right now we're going to start working on page 4 and page 5. And page 4 and 5 are going to be mirror images of each other. All of the flaps are going to be attached to the outside, so when 4 and 5 are open, the flaps will then open again. So there's 2 flaps per page. You're going to start with a smaller flap, which is 4.5 by 8. 4.5 by 8. On the 4.5 inch side, you're going to score down a 1/2 inch. So that's 4.5 by 8. So you're going to place this at the top of your scoreboard and score it a 1/2 inch. You'll need one for page 5 and one for page 4. The next one is 6.5 by 8. 6.5 by 8, you're going to place a 6.5 inch side into your scoreboard and score the first 1/2 inch. And that is going to be your second flap, and it's going to get installed 1 and 2. And we're going to do the same thing for page 5. So you'll need 2 of the 4.5 by 8s and 2 of the 6.5 by 8. Okay. Now I'm going to install these on the open edge. This is going to be the spine edge. This is going to be the open edge of page 4 and 5. And I don't really want to stack them like so. So one of the ways that you can install these so that you don't have stacked hinges is to, I have to think about this, apply the small hinge to the pocket page and then apply the larger hinge to the inside of the small flap. So you're going to attach them like so. So this hinge is going to get adhered to this part of the paper, and then this hinge will get adhered to the pocket page. Now the other way to do that is to just stack the small one on top of the other one, but I don't like that. I want to have less going on there. So take your tape edge of your larger flap. Let me get my pick tool. And you're going to adhere it on the flap side, not on the hinge side, but on the flap side. So you're going to adhere it right here to this score line. So I'm going to, as soon as I'm done, I'll pull this up to the camera so you can see what I've done. I'm just going to push this hinge in until it meets the score line and then press it into place. Okay, so there's my small flap, there's my hinge. Here's the hinge to the large flap, and then you can see I still have this small hinge to go ahead and adhere to the pocket page. And then you only have one hinge that's exposed in the book. Okay. Okay, and this is going to just get adhered right to the edge here. Nice and neat. I like to tack down one corner and pivot till it's in place. And that looks good. Okay, so there's page 4 or 5. It says 5, but this really should be page 4. I got them mixed up. I want, and the reason I'm saying that is I don't want it on the spine side. I want it on the pocket side. So I'm going to switch my pages, and there's nothing on the other side, so it doesn't really matter. So that's going to be page 4. And again, it's going to both of these flaps are going to open away from what's going to be the spine. And that means this is going to now be page 5. And we're going to do the same thing. So this would be the spine side. This is the pocket side. We're going to adhere everything to this side. Okay. So I'm first going to join these 2 pieces like so, just like I did on the first one. And then I'm going to adhere it to the pocket page, the pocket page. Sorry. Okay. Now I'm just going to slide it in until it's just at the score line here. Don't go into the score line or your flaps won't lay down flat. There we go. Okay, and now the whole thing is going to get installed like so. Okay, so I've got some things written right side and some things upside down, but it's going to open like so. Okay, so now we're going to, I'm going to burnish this real quick. We're going to hold everything in place with some magnets. And for this project, I think I'm only using the small magnets. I'm not completely finished, but I think I'm just going to wind up using small magnets in the project. Okay, let's get some flat tape. And I'm actually going to use 2 sets of magnets on this page. I might wind up putting an embellishment piece across the top, but I haven't decided yet. So in the absence of that, I'm going to go ahead and put magnets in because I can always cover it up later. And I got to think about this. I don't think I'm going to do any color blocking, so I'm going to go ahead and put it in the center. If you think you want to do any color blocking and you're going to leave any exposed black paper, you'll want to move it off the center. Okay, now we just marry it on this side. Okay, there we go. So there is one, and then I'm going to put another magnet here. So it's going to hold the small flap in place. And I am going to have to go get some more magnets, I think. I think I left them in another room. Okay. Okay, we're going to repeat the process for the opposite page. Okay, so there's page 5. Let's do page 4. Oops, I dropped my magnets. And we'll get another set. I'm gonna have to go get my magnets. I'll be right back. All right, I just had to run and get some magnets, and I'm ready to go ahead and put these down. Whoops, sorry about that. Bumped the whole table. All right, let's see. Hopefully everybody's doing well. They're finally done with all the projects in my house, so I'm still putting my house back in order, but it's quiet. It's quiet again, so that's kind of fun. They're working on a few things in the backyard. We have a balcony, and our house is 20 years old. It needed some work, so they're working on that, but that's outside, so that's much easier to deal with. Although it does drive my dog crazy. Okay, let's close this, put that in place. Again, here's page 4 and 5, and they're going to open to the left and right again and again. There we go. That's that. Okay, I'm going to set page 5 aside, and we are going to get our papers, here they are, to start covering this. And I haven't inked them, so I have to apologize, but I'm going to run through that really quick. So real quick, I'll point out for this page, everything I'm using, it's going to go in this order. Like so, everything I'm using is from 12 by 12 collection pack. Yes, everything's from the 12 by 12 collection pack. I'm not using patterns or solids, at least not on the covers or the A sides. It's all just from the 12 by 12 collection pack. This is so cheerful. This yellow is so cheerful. Okay, and we're going to use, this is the back side of the cut aparts. which I'm okay with using, even though it's really hard to give these up, but I have a pack of the ephemeras already, and I'd rather have the paper in this case. Okay, so that's going here, and then this is going to go on the bottom layer. All right. So that's my hubby going out the front door. It makes a lot of noise. Okay, so the last time I finished a project, I took the time to clean and take care of my glue tip, which the way I remember to do that is I just clean it. I guess I didn't trim these down to size yet. It needs to be a little bit smaller. Whenever I need to add glue, or whenever I open a new glue bottle, I know that's when it's time to clean my tip. Lately, I don't think this is the right piece. Let me see. Sorry, I am just double checking everything. One of these is a little bit bigger than the other. Okay, I think it goes like this. Yes, it looks like I still need to trim a little off, so I'm going to do that real quick. I thought I had trimmed these, but I guess I just rough cut them. So I did, by the way, look at doing this book in cream, and I liked it both ways, but I decided, and I'll show you what I mean. So here's what this looks like with a black trim around it, and I kind of like it. It looks a little bit richer. And here's what it looks like with a cream frame around it. So this kind of pops the darker, bolder colors, so I liked it. So it works with both. Let me go ahead and ink this so you can see it both ways. But it actually wound up making two albums, one cream and one black, because I couldn't make my mind up until the paper actually got here. So there it is with a little bit of inked edges, which helps. But again, I think I like it with the black. So there you go. So that was my decision. I'm going to trim this down and re-ink it. Okay, let's try it now. Oh, a little more. There we go. Let's re-ink that and get it down. I apologize, but I don't think I trimmed any of these now that I think about it. I think I just rough cut them for planning purposes. So I might take a break here after this piece and go do that so you guys don't have to sit and watch me trim papers. But let's go ahead and get this one in. Okay, that is good. Okay, I'm gonna take a break. I'm gonna double check my fittings and I'll be right back. Okay, I'm back. I trimmed out a couple of pieces. Now the inside piece is gonna be color blocked, so I'll have to do a little bit of trimming when we get to it. But for now, we're ready to lay the second piece down, which is this beautiful blue polka dot. A little heavy there. And right now I'm just focused on getting all the A sides in. We'll come back and do the B sides after we do the A sides. Okay, beautiful. See how lovely? Okay, now we'll do this. So this is going to be color blocked, and I think I forgot to ink this edge. And I'm just pulling this back in, and it's going to go toward the spine, or the hinge, I'm sorry. This is 2 inches wide. So we're going to start by laying that in, and then we'll be able to figure out exactly how to trim this one down. I started out with a rough cut. It's 6 by 8, and then I trim it down to fit exactly right. So again, this is 2 inches wide, if you guys want a color block. And it doesn't have to be 2 inches. You know, this is just a design preference. I like it. But you can do whatever you don't even have to color block. You can just use a solid sheet here if you want. But I was trying to use the leftover pieces. So once I trimmed out these, I had some leftovers, and that's where I'm pulling these back in. So I had a 4-inch strip of this, and I cut it in half, and I'm going to use 2 inches on page 4 and 2 inches on page 5. Okay, so that's it. Now we're ready to figure out exactly how to trim this down. So I'm going to lay this in. You can butt these straight up and tape them together and lay them down as a single unit. I like to add that little strip in there. I think it's interesting. That's, again, a personal preference. If you don't like color blocking, solid sheet, or you can push it right into the other designer paper and try to mask the seam if you like. Okay. And I'm being cautious because you can't untrim something, so I'm trying to be careful not to over trim. Okay, that looks good. Everybody, we're almost done with the A sides. There we go. I just love that look. So I don't have all my B sides trimmed out yet, but it's likely that I'll pull that stripe back in somewhere over here. But we'll see. We shall see. So that is how page 4 looks. Page 5 is going to look the same, only it's going to be a mirror. So I'm going to set this aside and let's go ahead and get started on page 5. Okay, so while I was away, I went ahead and trimmed these out. So this will go a little faster and I shouldn't have to stop in the middle. And I inked them. So there's a new tool I'm using right now, and I think I used it in my last video. This is a Teflon bone folder, and we now have these in our shop, and I am loving this. It goes over the paper so smooth. I really love it. One of the issues I had with my old bone folder, which it performed functionally just fine, there was something about the texture of it that when I pulled it across the paper, I had this sensation of fingernails on a chalkboard. It used to drive me crazy. And this Teflon is so smooth, it doesn't do that. It's a little spendy, but I'm glad I splurged. I like it. All right, let's do the blue dots are next. And I think I've got it trimmed, and I do, and it's inked. So anyways, I'm really enjoying that. That's kind of the latest. They've been around for a while, but I just hadn't bought one, and I'm glad I did. I'm glad I splurged on it. I'm going to go ahead and stick this right under the edge just so I can see. Feeling like I'm all thumbs. See that I get a nice even border. And that looks really good. Got a little heavy there on the glue. Okay, and just as I did on page 4, we're going to lay down our 2-inch strip first, and then we'll trim this piece to fit. Okay, and again, this is 2 inches by 7 7/8 in the case, in my case, because I'm doing a 1/16 inch border. Not everybody likes a tight border. I think 1/8 is a pretty common size as well. Okay, just want to make sure it was closing smoothly, and it is. Okay, now I'm ready to mark this so that I can trim it to fit. Because I can't guarantee that this strip went in straight, I like to put a tick mark on both edges just in case I need to cut this at a slight slant so that it goes in and looks square. But when you color block, that's one of the risks. If one of the papers is slightly askew, you have to make up for it as you trim down the other pieces. So it makes it a bit of a challenge, but I really like the look of it. So to me, it's worth the effort. It's not for everybody. And there you have it. And then of course, if you do have to trim it at a slight slant, you have to remember to put it in the way that you marked it. I can't put it in the other way. It'll throw it off even further. In this case, remarkably, it went in pretty much square, but you can't guarantee that. And that's, like I said, why I like to make a mark on both ends. Okay. So there is page 5. So there's page 4 and 5. I think that turned out lovely. Okay, so now I need a break. I'm going to double check all my cuts and ink my edges, and we'll work on the B side. Be right back. Okay, everybody, I've trimmed everything out, and I went ahead and inked my edges. So this is going to go pretty quickly. We're going to focus on doing the B side of page 4 and 5. And yeah, I'm just double checking to make sure all my inking is in, and it is. I'm going to set page 5 aside. Okay, and I need my pick tool. Here we go. Okay, I like the way that looks, so it's kind of framed the centerpiece out. And then this is, I didn't mention it, but this is the leftover from when I trimmed this out. So this is also 12 by 12. This is from the Patterns in Solids. Okay, so that is page 4. Okay, now we're going to do the same thing on page 5. Here we go. So for those of you that might be new to the channel, I put glue on top of that tape because it really wants to grab your paper. And by adding just a little bit of glue, it gives you a chance to wiggle things into place. The tape is not forgiving in that way. I mean, once it grabs, you pretty much have to tear your paper off. You can be careful or use undo, but if you add a little glue, then you get a little bit of time to wiggle it into place. The other thing you could do is, I always use double-sided adhesive over my magnets. You don't have to. Any tape over the top of your magnet will just help soften the edges, so when you apply your mat on top of it, you don't see a ring. So it could be any kind of tape. It could be Scotch tape, masking tape. Not too thick, because you want the magnet to still have lots of pull power, so that it attracts to the opposite magnet. But again, it doesn't have to be double-sided tape. And if you used a different kind of tape, you wouldn't have to worry about it grabbing. Okay, lovely. Oops, it's going the wrong way. It goes like that. Okay, so there's page 4 and 5. So I'll open these all up. It's always nice to see the finished. I don't know if you guys watch the video and then come back and try to build, or if you're building along and then you see the end with me. But I like to try to show it to you, so you can go to the end and just look at what I've done and not necessarily have to go through the whole process. But anyway, I'm trying to do it both ways for everybody. So there is page 4 and page 5. Okay, we will continue working on this. I'm going to take a break, do some more trimming and inking, and then when I get back, we will start working on the next page.